Today we're talking about these lenses by Sirui. It is their Aurora line, and they now have two lenses in this line, which I think is great. They have an 85mm and a 35mm. I think these might just be the best full frame lenses for the money. Alright, let's just get a couple of things out of the way first. I purchased the 85mm with my own money quite a few months ago, and recently Sirui sent me the 35mm for free in return for this video, but it's not sponsored, I'm not getting paid, and they don't get to see this video. It was actually supposed to be out 2 weeks ago. These lenses come in at a fantastic price. The 85mm is $500, but it's currently on sale for $440 on Amazon, and the newer 35mm f1.4 is $550. So both incredibly cheap for what it is that they're offering. Again, these are full frame, prime f1.4, high quality, lovely lenses, and they can produce a fantastic image. Now, I do have much more experience with the 85mm as I've used it for a couple of months compared to the 35mm. Now, I have the Sony E-mount here, so all of the video footage that you will see is on my Sony FX30, which granted is APS-C, but all of the photos that you see are going to be on my Nikon ZF, which is going to have the Mega adapter, which we'll talk a little bit more about at the end because it wasn't quite perfect. Now, these lenses are going to be absolutely perfect, in my opinion, for beginners who are in the full frame market and are purchasing their first high quality prime lenses without trying to break the bank. If you compare these to like some G Master lenses or some of the Canon L lenses, you're looking at lenses that are 2 to 3, 4 times the price of these, and these lenses, they are incredibly good. As far as the actual build of the lenses go, they're very, very similar. There's just one or two little differences. So first off, both lenses come with a little lens cap. You got a front lens cap, which has just one of those little squeezy things, and a rear lens cap. That's obviously very standard, you should expect that. Both lenses have USB-C ports on the back that you can use to update your firmware on the lens, plus they have rubber gaskets, and they do feel weather sealed. Again, just be careful with your gear. Just because something says weather sealed does not mean you should throw it in a lake. Now, where these two lenses differ, one of the things that just bothers me, if I'm honest, is the difference in filter ring size. So the 85mm, obviously having much more glass, is a 67mm filter ring, whereas the 35mm, having less glass in there, is a 62. Sirui, I think it's just better if you just increased the size up from 62 to 67, even if you don't need it. It just means that it's uniform across all of the lenses, and that's just nice to have. They also both come with lens hoods, but I honestly never use them, so they are not on mine, but they do work. So if you're concerned about that, they do indeed come with lens hoods. And as far as the build goes, these lenses feel great. They feel very similar to some of the higher end Sony lenses that I've used. And on the lenses themselves, they have an aperture ring, which is always nice. This is kind of becoming more and more popular, is to have an aperture ring on the lens, going from f1.4 to f16, and then it also has a little section there with an A at it. That means that you can control it with your camera. So if you want to keep your aperture ring controlled by the camera, then just pop it over to the A and you can control it in your camera. But if your camera doesn't have enough function dials to do all of your settings, it's nice to have this built onto the lens if you want to use it. Both lenses do have a declickable aperture ring, so that means I currently have it clicked and it has a nice little sound to it there, but you can declick it and then it becomes very smooth. Like almost silent in how smooth it is. Feels really, really nice. Both lenses have that. Secondly, they have this big sort of font on the side that says the millimeter of the lens. So we've got the 85 here, f1.4, and you have a little function button lens. Again, very nice click. Just feels good to use. Now, obviously, if you're using a microphone on top of the camera and you're trying to use that as like a focus hold, you will hear that. And then lastly, you do have an autofocus and manual focus toggle on the lens. I actually really like it. I don't know if it's necessarily a deal breaker for me, but I really like having autofocus, manual focus switch on the lens. I hate having to dig into the menus to change that on my cameras. Now that's the 85mm. The 35mm is exactly the same in every way, except that it also includes an iris lock switch. So this is really nice. So if you put your lens to the A section where it's controlled by the camera and you flick the iris lock switch on, then you cannot take it out of that. That is just locked it in place, which means you're not going to bump it. This is quite nice, and actually something that has happened on this lens is that whenever I had it set in A and I actually gave the camera to my second shooter, I came back and it had bumped over and they had been shooting some photos at f16 without knowing it, wondering why their photos were so dark. So just be aware of that on the 85mm compared to the 35mm. If you know what you're doing, it's not a problem, but if you're a beginner, I would just recommend you can stick it in A and then you can lock it. So that is the physical characteristics of the lenses, but realistically the most important thing is the photos. And as you can see, I think these produce a lovely image. All the photos you're looking at right now are the 85mm at f1.4 for the most part, and on my Nikon ZF adapted from Sony to Nikon. And the images turned out really nice. There's some really nice character. The quality of the bokeh is super smooth. It's really like, I love the quality of the bokeh out of these lenses. It might be my favorite. It's not busy, it's not messy, it is just smooth and just renders a really nice image. Very detailed, very sharp. I'm more than happy, and the couple that received those photos loved those images that came out of this lens. So all of those are the 85, but the 35 can produce some really nice photos as well. Very similar characteristic. They have a similar kind of look and design and feel to the images that come out of them. So I think they pair really nicely together. But again, this 85mm has quickly become my favorite. I mean, it just lives on my Nikon ZF. So I do highly recommend this one. The 35mm, I'm still getting used to. I'm using it a little bit more. I've used it more for video, actually, if I'm honest with you. Using it for some of my podcast kind of setup that I used to have in my old studio. All of the sort of podcast style shots was filmed on this recently, and I think it turned out quite nice. And again, these photos, they look pretty good. But I will do a follow-up if I have any more issues with this lens. But if it is anything like the 85, then I do highly recommend it. And so far, so good. Really happy with the way that it's looking. As far as cons go, or any problems, literally the only problem that I've faced has actually been with my Nikon ZF with the Megadap adapter. This is the first time that I've had a lens kind of short out or have like a bit of a problem with this adapter. Now, it really didn't cause much problem at all. It would happen very rarely, maybe every sort of 15 to 20 minutes. The camera would act as if the lens had just been attached again, and it would kind of like disconnect and reconnect from the electronics of the lens. And that was very, very brief. And it would just do that every so often. So sometimes, like, it did happen when the bride and groom were walking down the aisle at one of the shoots, but thankfully we were fine. We had multiple angles and everything was okay. But, and it takes a split second to happen, but it could kind of throw you off. So that was something that I just faced. I don't know if that's a problem with the lenses. I don't know if that's a thing with the Megadap adapter. I don't know if it's a thing with the Nikon ZF, but I just figured that I would mention it to you because I know a lot of people enjoy using Sony lenses on Nikons, and these are the first lenses I've ever had that have had a little bit of problem, and both lenses did it. Again, very, very rarely, but I figured I would mention it. All in all, genuinely, really, really impressed. Again, the 85 I can comfortably recommend because I've used it a lot. The 35 is still kind of new to me and I'm still getting used to it, but so far I think they're great. Autofocus wise, for photography, flawless, absolutely flawless, no problems whatsoever. Video wise, again, this is on my FX30, not a single problem in the world. They act like native lenses, and what a blessed time that we live in, that third-party lenses that come in at a fraction of the cost of the main manufacturers are this good. Sirui, I'm very impressed. Please make some more. Thank you. And if you do want to check them out, they are linked in the description down below. Those are affiliate links. That does help out the channel, but don't feel any pressure to use them. If you don't like using affiliate links, just hop on Amazon, search for them, and you'll find them right there. But if you have any questions about these lenses, I can do a follow-up, and you just let me know what you want to know about them. I've probably missed some details. It's hard to review lenses because my use case for them might be different from yours. So let me know in the comments down below what you need, and I will try to address those. If you've enjoyed the video, hit the like button, drop a comment down below, maybe even subscribe as we continue to build this channel, and I appreciate all of you for doing so. I hope that you have a wonderful day.